Well, guys, I don't know what to say. It's been like 150 days, something like that. Might even be more. I'll put it up here somewhere, or over here, maybe somewhere. Um, no excuses. I've been busy. I'm still been recording content. That's the weird part. I've been recording content the entire time. So for the next couple days this month, and then kind of all of November, there's going to be lots of videos. I'll still have some, even into December. December's going to be a little bit weird. I'm traveling a bunch, so I maybe won't be able to post quite as often. But I'm going to have a bunch of videos, and there's going to be a lot of videos of me fixing other people's work, unfortunately. Some local, a lot of not local. I have so many videos of work that's been coming in that I've had to do for, fix for people. So expect a lot of those, a lot of really technical stuff, and then a bunch of new powders. Been working with a couple powder suppliers, got a couple cool videos coming up that are kind of a result of me working with them, showing not only new products, but like comparing products, which I think is a bigger deal for most of you. So enjoy this video. It's a short one, but probably tomorrow there'll be another video. So my goal is to get to 25,000 subscribers. I think I'm at like 22 something right now, by March, my birthday, March 8th. So if you like my videos or just want to help me out, hit that subscribe button, and you can turn on the bell, or hit the bell, turn on all notifications so you get a heads up when I post videos, which are going to be happening a lot.
Alright guys, so this valve cover is for a key truck. It's just a little 3-cylinder Honda. It was previously powder coated, was not installed since powder coating. As you can see, the finish is less than desirable. Now, to be fair, the casting on this is way rougher than traditional Honda covers, but you can see the work was, subpar at best. They also blasted inside the baffles, inside under the valve cover, and clearly didn't mask off the baffles. Also have this little EGR block off, which is going to be going with it as well. Same kind of results on that, so I can't say it's the casting of the valve cover, because the billet piece also looks terrible. Throwing this in our chemical strip setup. This is the Eco Strip from Express Chem, and also using an Express Chem setup, which I do have a video coming out on. It'll be out this month with all the rest. And it was in there for, I don't know, probably like 15 minutes. Pulled it out. This product's heated to 180 degrees, by the way. So as you can see, there's a bunch of casting imperfections. You can actually see how rough this valve cover is, but you can see all these little tiny dots. And those are all casting imperfections, and I like to get rid of all of those. You guys have seen them in other videos. It's not even a thing I charge for. I just kind of like include it in the cost of the cover, or in cost, the cost of doing the valve cover. This one was mostly just done with a DA, as you see. It's probably like an 80 grit. Just going through and knock off all the casting around the edges, and then all of those little nubs. You can file them. There's all sorts of ways to remove them. I think it gives like an overall better look, better finished product, and that's what we're all about, especially when I'm doing a rework, for something that was terrible. Now that that's all done, got it all kind of blown off. Now I'm going to be covering all of the holes that go into the baffle for the valve cover. These lead, of course, to the PCV setup. I'm going to block the PCV setup off as well, but I tape over all these holes just so media can't get in there. I offered to pull the baffle on this valve cover, which is what I always recommend. You guys have seen it in other videos in the past. I even have full tutorials on telling you how to do it and how to put it back. This guy was pretty adamant about not removing that. So we just put our normal blast tape over top of it. It's just a 3M product that I use for pretty much all my blasting masking. And I always make sure, you probably saw me cut that little piece off. When it sits up on the edge, I always cut that off. I want that tape to be laying perfectly flat across all the holes. I ended up blasting this, and you can see the letters there are, just the normal blasted finish. This customer wanted kind of the brushed look. The original look is kind of a machined finish. I can't recreate that with my setup, but I can do like a brushed look and then clear over top of it. Once again, another thing you guys have seen in the past, I just use a block with, sanding disc or sandpaper. This is another 80 grit. Goes ahead and I cut the grain basically across all the letters. Make sure you just go back and forth. You don't want to move around too much or it'll make the grain look all wavy and also be terrible looking. Honestly, I think it looks really cheap when people do it that way. This is the way I prefer. Keep checking it. This one had a little bit of damage on some of the letters, so I'm trying to kind of round the edges of those to kind of get the nicks out of the edges of the letters. It's not ideal, letters and numbers, I guess I should say in this case. Kind of pointing to one right there, talking to a coworker who's kind of standing next to me as I'm going over this. He's learning about doing these particular jobs as well. So this process seems like it takes a long time. I don't necessarily feel that way. I mean, I can normally do one of these valve curves pretty quickly. But once again, I am explaining to somebody else how to do it who's standing off to the side here. So I usually hit it with 80 grit to cut the grain, and then I'll go over it with like a 240 and then end up using a Scotch-Brite pad as well. Scotch-Brite ends up just making kind of like a satiny type finish on the letters. You can absolutely get away with not doing the Scotch-Brite part of this. I just prefer it as opposed to like the really grainy look, or the grained look, I should say. So Scotch-Brite is the move. Then, of course, we're just going to blow it off, make sure all that shenanigans is off of there. You can see here I'm checking the letters just to make sure that the edges are still sharp, which is a big deal. And because this is a Honda cover and most Honda guys like all these mounting areas to stay with the machined look, I go back over these. I don't know what the bit or the finish piece that I'm using is called for these, but I'll try to post a link in the description that I think is the best tool to do that with. We're spraying this in Illusion Purple, of course, from Prismatic. Throwing powder on, once again, both the parts, and then because I don't want it on the letters that I just spent a bunch of time brushing, I have to go through and wipe them off. Now, there are tools, of course, that you could vacuum some of this stuff off. For letters like this, I actually don't prefer that method. I prefer just to wipe them off. I throw that in the oven, comes out looking like this. Let it cool down. Once again, it just goes in the oven until it flows out. I usually do flow out plus like a minute or two. Pull it out, let it cool, and then I'm using Tiger's Bangle Clear here. I did just realize I didn't show any other masking in this process, but I do this, throw it back in the oven to end up with this as a result. Now, this cover was pretty rough. This did smooth it out quite a bit. Not the greatest overall outcome, but way better than it was, and the customer was absolutely stoked on it. I appreciate you guys watching. Check out the next video.